Many people ask me how to find a greater sense of faith and purpose through their Kriya Yoga meditation practice. And faith is something that's cultivated. Your Kriya meditation practice gives you a wonderful foundation, a wonderful tool to invite that into your life. These things need to be called into your life, because most of the time we've been living our lives from a certain viewpoint where we don't have any faith, or we don't believe in anything, or we don't feel like we can trust life itself. And when you've been in a habit of that for so long, and when you've come from a family that supported that, or your friends, the people around you, don't seem to have much faith or believe in anything or trust in anything greater than themselves, it's a hard thing to develop. And this is also why your meditation practice and your Kriya Yoga practice, your spiritual practice, is meant to be very personal, because you need to develop it for you. And maybe you've known people, I know this has happened to me before, when you're having something very good happen in your life, and then you go around people that don't have anything good happening in their life, and they tend to want to, in a sense, tear you down a little bit, or make it seem less than what it is, rather than allowing you to appreciate that blessing while it's there. The same thing happens in regards to your spiritual practice and your meditation. Oftentimes, when you start to have a sense of clarity and a sense of peace and a greater sense of joy or love and trust in life, and then you end up speaking about that or trying to demonstrate that to people before you're strong enough to stay in that place, despite what other people say or do. And you get around someone who's having a hard time, and even if you try to help them, they can often bring up some sort of subtle criticism or sarcasm, whatever it might be, which tends to detract you from maybe the blessing that you became aware of, or the positive sense of grace that was flowing into your life. Now again, as you get older, as you practice with more clarity, with more depth, with more intensity, eventually this won't bother. You can be around anyone and stay clear and centered and aware of what's good in your life, even if others can't. So it just depends on who you are and where you are in this process. But let's say you're still working on developing a sense of trust and faith in life. The easiest and best way to do that is, after you've gone through your meditation routine, your Kriya Yoga process, spend some time sitting quietly and feeling your heart. And when I feel my mind, I imagine it's my spiritual eye, the space between my eyebrows. And just simply ask, invite, please, however you relate to God or divine consciousness, please, self, God, divine consciousness, whatever words you use, fill my heart with a sense of faith and strength and trust to see and recognize your presence in this life. And help me to recognize that I do have the ability to trust that life is supportive, even through the trials and difficulties, even through the beauty and joys of life. Life is supportive in some way. Fill my heart with that knowing. Invite it in. Fill my heart with that knowing. Fill my mind with that knowing. And even go so far as to say, fill my body with that knowing. Fill my environment with that knowing. Fill my relationships with that knowing, that understanding. And when you do that, it creates a pattern. It creates a current. And in the beginning, it's so tenuous, it's so thin, smaller than a spider web, but it's there and it starts. And every day that you continue this, that thread gets a little wider. Maybe it's the size of 2 strands of spider web in the second day. And as the years go by, it gets a little thicker and a little thicker, and this current starts to flow more easily, until eventually you become aware of it. It becomes a sensation, a knowing, an understanding, and trust is there, even in difficulty. You know that you can call in grace even in difficulty. You can call in strength. You can recognize and realize this inner strength that is this light of God in you and as you. So just do that for 2 to 5 minutes every day after you get done meditating. And when you're in a particularly difficult situation, one thing that can also help generate faith and strength and knowing for you, if you're patient, is, it seems crazy, maybe not to you who are on this channel, but to most people it would seem crazy. Have a conversation with God, how you relate to God. Express what's going on in your life and ask for guidance and support. And don't hold back. Whatever you're thinking, whatever you're feeling, whatever you're angry about or depressed about or what you think is unfair or what you can't trust, say it. And I like to recommend that you say it out loud. Go somewhere where no one's around, go for a walk, spend some time in nature and do this. Talk to yourself essentially. But then every now and then stop, and after you feel like you've expressed all that you can, wait and listen and feel, mainly in your heart and in your spiritual eye and in your mind and in your body. Heart, spiritual eye, mind, and then full body. And if you're outside and you're walking and you're talking, talk, express, talk to God, share what you need, what's going on, why you're confused, why you're having this problem, this difficulty, what you're feeling, get into it. And then once you feel that you've said all that you can, then as you keep walking and being in nature, just listen and feel. And see if some sort of response, an internal feeling comes to you, an internal knowing comes to you. And maybe it'll come to you then. Maybe it'll come to you as an insight as you're driving down the road. Or if you're at home and no one else is there and you've talked to yourself, spend some time sitting, just feeling your body, paying attention to your heart, paying attention to your mind, inviting this clarity to come in. And you have to be, it's a subtle thing. It's not going to come in as a paragraph, oratory in your mind. I am God, and I say that this is what's going on and this is what you need to do. No, at least that's not been my experience. Maybe a sentence or two here and there, but never an oratory. Or a monologue, I guess. So you have to stop and you have to feel and you have to hold in your awareness what openness comes in my heart, what openness comes in my mind. What am I inspired to do now? Maybe it's meditate more. Maybe it's do something that's a solution to the problem or the issue. But what you'll find is that by doing these two things, after meditation daily, feeling your heart, feeling your mind, and praying for strength, divine strength, and waiting for it to feel it, praying for knowing and peace and faith, and waiting until you feel it. And then at other times, actually actively having a conversation with the divine as you know it. No matter what hardships, no matter what trials, no matter what joys you go through, this will blossom into almost a living response, a living relationship with yourself, essentially. And you will have a greater sense of trust in life. Even when things go wrong, or even when things go wrong based on how you think they should go, you'll have a greater sense of understanding that there's a bigger picture here. And if you can just simply open your heart and your mind to listen, to understand, to hear, to be patient, to surrender, to follow inspiration when it's there, your faith will grow. And life will seem more interactive and alive with you, and you won't feel so solitary and cut off from everything. And you won't have to always seek out others to define what you should be doing with your life. And for many, I've been told this is a scary process because you're resetting your compass. But the more you can trust the process, it's been reported to me, and I have found this to be true too, the more you can trust the process and the resetting of your inner compass, the more gratitude you tend to have, and the more easy it is to recognize how life is supportive in all of its grand and peculiar ways. So keep this in mind, and maybe for the next week, practice this. Practice this. You're not going to learn it. You're not going to do it if you don't start practicing now. Do it for at least 1 week. And ideally do it for longer. But the week will get you primed. And make sure you have a journal to keep track of what your experiences are. And if anything in particular comes up that you'd like to share about the process, please do. Again, you can comment in the comment section below this video. So these are ways to really engage your spiritual practice, your Kriya Yoga practice, such that your faith grows, your vitality, your sense of vitality and aliveness grows. And you let go of that false sense of self and no longer feel that you are cut off from the flows of grace in this world. So let me know how it goes.